Hey, welcome back to Girls Can Code. I'm Natalie, and today this will be part two of an awesome interview me and my friend Mia Dallin did with Gayleen Gray, who is the Assistant Vice President and Chief Technology Officer at McMaster University. Enjoy. You speak a little bit about your current position at the University of McMaster and what a typical day looks like for you.
So my position, because I am a leader within the institution, I like to think about my position in a few different pillars, if you will. So one is I am the leader for the central IT organization on campus, and they provide the centrally provisioned infrastructure and systems to the institution. So they're kind of the core of the IT implementation on campus. So I have a team of over 100 individuals that ultimately report up into me, and they deal with everything: administrative, academic, student, research related IT support and services. I also play a role from a leadership perspective. I'm one of the leaders within the institution who sits at big decision-making tables and helps to weigh in from my lens and areas of expertise around decisions that the institution is going to make from a broad institutional perspective, but of course from an IT or technology investment perspective. So I ensure that our IT governance model, where all of the IT investment and decision making takes place, I participate, make sure that that process or set of processes moves forward and people get to weigh in and buy in on our decisions. I drive the McMaster IT strategic vision and plan and ensure that people are engaged and contributing to that process. I also provide leadership across campus to other IT areas within our faculties or the other departments on campus. So not everybody who delivers IT at McMaster University actually directly reports to me, but they all are part of my umbrella of responsibility. So I have a pretty broad swath. It's one of the nice things about being in IT. I love that I get to be involved in every conversation that happens on campus, because technology has gone from being a fringe piece to being integral and deeply embedded in everything that we do. And the pandemic and the outcomes of that from a higher education perspective have just enhanced and advanced the way technology is embedded in everyone's day-to-day activities now. So that's been quite a process in and of itself. My average day, I like to tell people what I really do is just talk for a living. You can probably tell that just from this conversation. I am in meetings from the beginning of the day until the end of the day. And they vary. So in some cases, they're leadership meetings where I'm listening in on big institutional discussions. Sometimes they're my team and I'm helping to guide them in the direction and strategy that they're undertaking. I have meetings that require me to sit on governance or decision-making bodies. So we have an IT student advisory committee. We have a number of committees within our IT governance model where we're discussing new initiatives and proposals, and I'm helping to guide and answer questions around our direction and what we need to do there. I do mentoring for people and provide support for my direct reports, but also to my management team and to individuals. So if people want time with me, I'm willing to have those discussions as well. I spend an awful lot of time on email, which I'm embarrassed to say is there was a time when we thought email was going away. It's not. So I tend to have to respond to a lot of emails. And I do a lot of communicating. So I have a number of initiatives that I undertake to keep people informed about what we're doing now, what we want to be doing in the future, and trying to build a community and ensuring that our full institution is aware and feels engaged in the IT model that we have put in place, so that I'm gathering input, but I'm also pushing out information. So I have an individual whose title is Manager of Communications and Culture. They focus on the communications piece. The culture piece is about creating that collaborative IT environment. So I help to drive our IT culture on campus, which feeds up into the broader institutional culture as well. So lots of meetings, lots of decisions. And, you know, in one meeting, I might be talking about HR issues. In the next meeting, I'm talking about purchasing an enterprise system like an online proctoring system for the institution. In the next meeting, I am providing input into HR activities. In the next meeting, you know, so it just boom, 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 boom. Things just change. So you have to be quick to pivot. When I was on campus, prior to moving to work from home, I would be running around campus to meetings. Now I just log off of one meeting, log on to the next one, and they just go all day long. So yeah, I have a lot of conversations with people, and my days can be quite long, and I sometimes have to work outside of standard, well, quite often work outside of standard business hours, because if issues arise, so let's say, for example, we have an IT security issue that arises, I'm accountable for that. So I have to be engaged in the conversation and the planning and the response to dealing with those issues. If something comes up over the weekend that's a critical issue, like our phone system goes down, I'm usually informed and I would monitor those sorts of things. So it's really kind of you have to have a bit of a passion for this work, because it does start to seep into your personal time.
Great. It's good to hear about some variety that you have.
It's great.
And can be in STEM fields. So next, for girls who are interested in exploring or possibly pursuing a career in STEM or computer science, what's your biggest piece of advice for them?
Well, that's a great question. I think there's a few things. One would be to seek out programs like yours. You know, you're creating an environment where people can listen to what other people think about girls who code, or people showing that there is an opportunity for girls within the STEM environment. So if you go online and do a search, again, there's lots of places where you can be engaged in communities that are supporting girls or women in technology. So, and there's just so much information online. So seeking out information in a more maybe a one-way, so gathering information, but getting involved with communities where you can interact with and learn from each other, I think is really a great way of getting beyond textbook information about technology and really interacting with people who know something about it. I would say that there's many individuals such as myself who are always happy to have a conversation like this. You guys were very courageous and reached out to say, hey, you know, would you like to have a conversation? I would say that you would find there are many female leaders within the technology, science, math environments that would also, in engineering, who would also be very pleased to participate. There's also a number of functional girls who code clubs or opportunities where you can actually go and learn how to do some coding and demystify from a technology or coding perspective, what does it mean to actually code, and lots of mentoring opportunities and places where people can step in and actually get their hands dirty trying out some of those things. And again, I think we're so fortunate now because there's so much information online. And so if you find something that you're interested in, if you take it to somebody who has either participated or who may be more involved in this sector, they may be able to validate that this is a good approach or something good to get involved in. So I would say there's lots of different ways where you can engage yourself, even listening in on TED Talks, if you do searches on TED Talks, or if you tap into some of the information that's available through Microsoft as an example online. There's lots of different places where you'll find examples of women who have succeeded and invested time in this field. So I think, you know, it's really, I think that it's infinite opportunities to find ways to expose yourself to more information. And, you know, educationally, I think there's a lot of places. So if you've got your teachers within your high school, when you move into university, approaching people there, when you go to any kind of online now or campus fairs where you have an opportunity to talk to some of the programs where engineering faculties, science faculties, the computer science departments, and just ask questions. I think you'll find that lots of people want to encourage young women to become engaged in these fields.
Okay, and to conclude,
sure. If you were to share one topic related to computer science that girls would be interested in researching or learning more about, what would it be?
or just IT in general as well.
Yeah, from a computer science perspective, there's a lot of activity happening right now where women are trying to get involved in coding, just again, to demystify what does that mean. And coding now is quite different than it used to be. There's lots of programs now where you can just create apps and do things. It doesn't mean, you have to write massive programs. It's really just exposing yourself to new types of code or technology capabilities. So if you search out, there's 100 days of code, those kinds of activities where people can learn a little bit more, and there's a bunch of free tools you can download and actually start to create your own apps and test them out, and there's all sorts of how-tos on this. So I think that's an interesting area for people specifically who may wonder what does computer science actually mean, and how could I get more hands-on to understand whether that's an area that I have interest in. From a broader IT perspective or information technology perspective, or science or engineering, as I said, I think really just seeking out people who are in the field and asking questions of them to get their feedback would be great. There's a ton of groups and clubs and communities online that you can engage in to gain more information, but you're in a university city, and so you have a whole academic opportunity here where you can tap into people, and if you go to any department and say, hey, I'm a high school student, I'd be interested in learning more about something, I can guarantee you'll find a way to get access to people who'd be quite happy to share some information, whether it's a student who's in those programs or if it's an actual academic leader or instructor who's delivering information on those programs. So I would just say to people, don't feel limited, and just reach out and ask for help or ask questions. Email makes it very, people are very accessible now, I guess is what I would say, whether you find them on LinkedIn or you find them on through email or websites. There's lots of ways you can tap people for help. One of the things I would say to anybody, and it doesn't matter about age or gender, is people love to help. So if you ask for help or if you ask for information, everybody is going to, I wouldn't say everybody 100% of the time, but I would say 99.9% of the time, you're going to get people who would be really happy to answer questions, provide information, give you some feedback. So I would say be fearless and just reach out and look for opportunities.
Great. That's great advice. We really enjoyed talking to you today. Thanks for all your good knowledge and advice. And
yeah, thanks for meeting with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I hope you guys liked the interview and got something out of it. Gayleen was awesome to interview. Thank you so much, Gayleen. And stay tuned to the channel for more videos to come, for informational coding videos and more interviews as well. Have a great day. Bye.